You got a big smile on your face? Yeah. Good girl. Hey, kia ora. Helen Brahms coming to you live from Claremont in Florida. And the countdown is on for when we leave Claremont. I was calculating earlier today, and my calendar shows me how many days at some all-day event, if it's multiple days. When I leave on Friday, it'll be 47 days that I've spent at this campground, plus the 14 at the one that's 30 minutes up the road, for a total of 61 days in Florida, or in the Claremont area, I should say, because I did have a week traveling through the Panhandle and down to Orlando, where I stayed at, I was in Pensacola for 3 nights, and then 2 other places for 2 nights, so a total of 68 days in Florida in total. But if you look at just Claremont, it's going to be 61 days. It's like crazy, considering the fact I was only planning on spending a week here in Claremont, and then about a week or 2 traveling down the west coast of the peninsula across to Fort Lauderdale, and then carry on up the east coast. So, you know, this COVID thing has put a huge dent in the plans, but that's okay. We just roll with the flow. It's not a problem. Things happen for a reason. There's been a lot of great stuff that's been happening while we've been sitting here in Florida. It's, you know, got a new business started with the genealogy, got some great things done. Got the chance to catch up on sending out cards and gifts to people. Been having fun sending personalized mugs and water bottles and all that sort of fun stuff. Even sending out a few of these things. You know what this is? Do you know what this is? This is a handy dandy phone holder, or you can put your laptop on. But it folds up nice and flat, so it fits inside a pocket or my handbag, and it's got these little rubber grippy thingies on the bottom there to stop it slipping sliding around, and then it's got rubber grippy thingies here to stop your phone slip sliding around. It also holds an iPad. I tested it, I know that, and you can like this from the desktop, or straighten that bit out. You can even use it to hang for like on a tray table on the plane, so you can easily watch your movies and things. But I have one on my dining table and one on my little table here. But I love giving those things away. So if you put comments in the thing below, for those that comment on this video, in the comments below, I'm going to pick somebody to get one of those. So keep an eye on your Facebook page, your Facebook Messenger, because I might send you a message asking you for your mailing address. So keep an eye on that. So how did you do with today's challenges? Let's see, let's recap. So today's challenges, your mindset was be in awe, as in R-A-W-E, not O-A-R or O-R or any of those other ones that it sounds like. You know, as in awesome and awestruck. And how did that day go, being in awe of things? Your mindset, and that was your mindset. Your business was timer. How did you go with timing activities that you did today, and seeing where your time is being spent? We spent like 2 hours at Walmart this afternoon doing grocery shopping. My friend Vicky had to do a big shop, so the 2 of us went over there, and yeah, we were gone for like 2 hours. We couldn't believe it. And it's only like 5 minutes down the road by car. So yeah, we did that. And fun is all about laughter. Laughter was our fun challenge of the day. Also, so I put a little question thingy in there about, or a little teaser for you this morning, and I put it in the description today about something that happened on this day. But first of all, I have to say to all of my Star Wars fans, happy Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. This happens to be one of my husband's favorite days. He was a huge Star Wars fan and loved the Star Wars thing. Totally missed the connection with that one a year ago today. So a year ago today, do you know what happened on a year ago today? A year ago today, I purchased Sparkles. That was the day I purchased Sparkles. I actually saw her on the 1st of May and put a deposit down, and then on the 4th of May made full payment. She became 100% mine. So it's kind of exciting. I've spent a year in Sparkles already, and it doesn't feel that long. Yet when I looked at my trip log, I have logged over 8,000 miles in her already, and that was going through, let's see, we've been Nevada, let's see if I can get this right, Nevada, Utah, Idaho, Washington, British Columbia, Oregon, Northern California, Southern California, Arizona, looking, hang on, I'm going to flip this around so you can see my map on the door and see. Now, I don't have Canada on there yet, although I have seen Canada ones around, so I've got to figure out how to get the Canada ones in there. But the ones that are filled in are the ones where I have stayed a minimum of 2 nights and left the campground to go exploring. But I have driven through New Mexico, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. I actually overnighted in New Mexico? No, I drove from Tucson to El Paso, that's right. So we've also driven across, so we've driven up the western states into British Columbia, and I've driven from California to Florida in her along the I-10. So it's been a wild 8,000 miles, 8,000 plus miles, and it's just over 8,000. I filled her up with gas on the 9th of March, which is the day I arrived in Claremont at the other campground, and I can't remember how far before I got to that campground I filled her up, but she was sitting at 7,997 miles at that point, as to what I had done in her up until then. And so I can't remember if I've still got to add 40 miles plus from that Claremont, the other campground down to here, or what. But I won't know that till I turn her on Friday, and because I always take a picture of the odometer on the morning before I leave, so I can go back and track at what mileage I had done between each trip. So we've done just over 8,000 miles in her in a year. It's our 1 year anniversary of purchasing Sparkles. The 1 year anniversary of moving into her is not until tomorrow, because once I purchased her, I had they kept it at the RV sales yard for me overnight, because I had there was no campground with vacancy nearby that I could take it to. So it wasn't but I could get in on the 5th. So one more night in a hotel, picked her up on the 5th, drove to my first campground, and that was at Wilderness Lakes in Menifee, and got her all set up, no problem at all. It was a pull-through spot, so I didn't even have to back her up. Nice and easy. And we spent a lot of time going from the one in Menifee down to Escondido, to the one RV park there, to Champagne Lakes. Had her in storage for the month of July while I was in New Zealand, and then pulled her out of storage. My parents came over at the end of July and joined me, and we did just over 3,000 miles going through up to Nevada, Utah, Idaho, Washington, British Columbia, Oregon, Northern California, before I put them back on a plane, and back down to San Diego before I put them on a plane back to New Zealand. So we did just over 3,000 miles in like 27 days or something. It was nuts. And at that point, I did not know the difference between car driving and RV driving as far as drive times go. Now I'm a little more wiser. So when I did this trip across from California to Florida, I was staying a minimum of 2 night stays in places as I was driving across. So, and of course, this mileage from California to here is Zeffie's first RV trek, and we've still got a lot more miles to go. But yeah, it's hard to believe it has been a year since I purchased Sparkles. And I always said to Brad, I says, I need a sign. And I said, send me a sign. I want flashing lights. I want it obvious. And so then I told him a few months later, after I made the connection between May 4th being Star Wars Day, and that was the day I purchased Sparkles, I looked up to the heavens and I said, really? That was your sign? I said, we're going to have the flashing neon lights and the arrows that go this here, this, this. I said, 4th of May totally slipped by. It's totally oblivious to that. So, but yes, a year already. So, it's hard to believe it's been a year, and we've still got many more miles to go. Many more states to fill in on that thing. I mean, when I counted up how many states I'd actually visited already, there was a total of 23 states that I had already visited. But when I put that outline on the door of Sparkles, I basically scrubbed the slate clean, and we're going to visit all. Well, we can't visit Hawaii in Sparkles, so that's going to have to be an airplane ride. But we're going to visit all other 49 states, along with all the other territories in Canada as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. This trip, I sold Animal before we left on this trip, so I'm not traveling with a car, only because to to bring Animal with me, I would have had to purchase a trailer, and the flatbed trailer was worth more than what Animal was. So it was sort of like, yeah. And I didn't want to spend the finances to replace her as a car and then get all this other stuff, because with Animal, she was a Subaru all-wheel drive automatic. You cannot flat tow them, which is 4 wheels on the ground. You can't dolly tow them, which is 2 wheels up. You have to flatbed tow them, and the trailers cost more than the car was worth. So I just figured, figure it out. But when I got to Claremont, I've got some amazing friends here, Tony and Brett, who let me the car that they had, because Tony had just bought a new car, and so he hadn't sold his other car yet, so he let me use Bertha. So I'm so appreciative to him for that, and to Tony and Brett for that, and then helping me when I had to move, to picking up Bertha, and then coming and picking me up again the next day after I had moved the RV. So it's been a lot. I have learned a lot on the road. There's so much I have learned on the road. I don't even have time to go through it all now. But I've learned drive times are the biggest one I have learned. When I'm figuring drive times, I've got an RV traveling program that I use, and it shows me all the, and I put in there that I travel 40 miles an hour. And the reason you put that in there is because it allows you for the slower travel time that you do, the slower travel mileage that you do in an RV, especially a Class A. I don't take her above 65. I usually keep her around 63. But the 40 miles an hour also allows me to have breaks along the way, gives me time for breaks. So when I'm working on traveling time, put in 40 miles an hour, and it tells me, okay, you're going from point A to point B. This is how long it's going to take. And I know that includes breaks as well, instead of just flat out drive time. So, yeah, that's one. And just one of the biggest things, in fact, ever since I started driving this, I'm never in a rush. I am never in a rush behind the wheel. I am just happy to sit behind the wheel and just cruise along, going wherever the road takes me in the direction I need to go at the time. One of these days I'll probably do a trip. It's just going to be like, wake up in the morning, decide where to go, and and just go in those directions. In fact, it's probably what I'm going to do at the end of this week, because I still haven't decided where I'm going. But I still have to research what states are open, where I can go, where I don't have to stay for 2 weeks because I'm entering the state. So I know I've got to avoid Virginia right now, because I know in the campgrounds there, if you go into any of their campgrounds, unless you have an essential personnel letter saying that you're passing through, you have to self-quarantine for 2 weeks, and that ain't going to happen. So we'll be looking for some states to go around that. So I'm not going to get to Virginia this time. It'll probably have to be next year now, so which annoys me a little bit, because there's so many people in Virginia and Maryland and that I want to catch up with. But it is what it is. You just got to change with the times, flow of the times. And I've noticed that living in an RV, I really don't give a crap about a lot of stuff right now. There's certain things I take to heart, but a lot of stuff, it just doesn't worry me anymore like it used to. This whole COVID thing, I mean, yes, it is serious. I totally get that. I have done my part with self-isolation. I have done my 6 foot. I do my 6 foot distance. I have masks, I have gloves, I have all of that. I have my hand sanitizer, everything. And I do my part to make sure I don't pass it on to anyone. But really, overall, I'm just not getting sucked into the whole of all the negativity that's surrounding it. I'm choosing to take the positive path, look at all the abundance of opportunities that are available during this time. I mean, heck, I started a new genealogy business, which is awesome, because genealogy has been a passion of mine for over 30 years. And jeepers, does that make me sound old? I've had a passion for over 30 years. Nope, because I'm still young at heart. And did you know that old is always 10 years older than what you are now, so therefore you will never be old. That's my philosophy. I'm sticking with it. I don't care what anybody says. But anyway, I need to get moving. I got to go do a quick run to the market, since Walmart, there's a couple of things that Walmart didn't have that I need to get, because the next few days are going to be slammed. So have a super fantastic sparkling evening. We will catch you tomorrow morning. And remember, if you comment on this video within the next 24 hours, I'm going to pick a name to get, and then send out that person, I might pick 1 or 2 names, send out that person this handy dandy little phone holder thing that folds up completely flat, so it fits in your pocket. See, you can see on my hand how big it is. It's small. So if you'd like one of those, comment on this video within the next 24 hours. I will pick a winner. I'll put everybody's name in a hat, and I will get Zeffie to draw the name out. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do that, but I will get her to do it, or at least help me anyway. Maybe I'll throw some treats in there and see what comes out with the treats. Actually, that might be a good idea. Put a container on the floor with all the names in there, throw some treats in there, and see which one sticks to her tongue as she tries to get the... I'm going to work on that one. Anyway, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. He konera.